Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be working on these Secret Garden necklace. These beads are from the bargain bead box for this month, for August. It was a Farm Fresh theme, I believe. So yeah, I don't know. I just saw this key and I thought of a Secret Garden, and there's just something about this whole theme that sort of reminds me of. And the freshness of a farm too. I already made a bracelet that is very simple right here. I've beaded like a little bead over here, a beaded bead. I had to go online to look for a tutorial. I believe it was Orchid and Opal tutorial that I did. It didn't come out perfect, but it was my first time and I'm pretty satisfied with that. These are not the beads from this box. They're smaller, but I happen to have them, in a smaller side, and I wanted to try this beaded bead because I really love the look of beaded beads. And then I took one of the cute little succulents and I glued it on a bale so that I could kind of make it the center, and then I use some of the beads over here. So here's an idea if you want to try it. I did not do this one in camera because I thought it's pretty simple. It's a simple bracelet. I mean, I could have done it, but that's okay. Maybe next time I'll do everything on camera. I'm trying to get more videos going, but for some reason, sometimes I get tired when I come back from work and the last thing I want to do is film. Today I have some time off, so I want to go ahead and try this necklace. Now, this is not set in stone, so I'm gonna try to do it as we go. This time it's kind of, improvising because, with the bargain bead box, I don't really have that many beads to try out things and do a design and then do another one of the same. I could, but I just decided not to because I want to make maybe like a bracelet with the other two of these findings. So let's just try this necklace together. So it might stay like this, it might not. There might be a few changes. It might not work, it might work. It's something that when you make jewelry, you just kind of have to try it and see how it goes, especially if you're designing on the fly. This is design on the fly. But let's just get started. So you're gonna need, your box. There it is. These are the other beads that I got. So I got all the green beads. I got some of this connector, a key, another little connector. All the green beads. I got the spacers from the box, the clasp, the chain. These are also from the box. I don't know if I'm gonna keep them or not. We'll see. And now for the extra stuff, I guess some soft flex beading wire because that's my favorite. And this one is kind of like the pewter silver that they have, the regular. Then I got a variety of gunmetal findings that I went to the store and bought from Michael's. I got the bead landing. I got a variety of jump rings, head pins, and eye pins because I wasn't sure what I needed. But, just look around, see what you got. Hopefully you have some things. Optional, I don't even know if I'm going to be using wire guards and the crimp covers. And of course, if you're going to use the wire like I am, you're going to need some crimp tubes. And these are size 2. The soft flex crimp tubes are nicer, but the bead alone will work just as well with the soft flex. So let's just get started. Okay, what I'm gonna do is actually cut, 3 pieces of wire, but I'm gonna start with this first one and, cut it longer than, it is over here. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start stringing them. And I was thinking about connecting them directly on these, but then I changed my mind. I think what I'm gonna do is just string them separately and then connect them on the jump rings because I feel like if it doesn't work this way, I can still change it. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'll just show you how to crimp this wire first. So first you're gonna string one of your crimp tube in here. This is a size 2. It works well with this size wire. There are sizes of wire depending on the thickness of your wire and the corresponding crimp tube, and it's all in the back of your box that these come in. This one was all tubes in a number 2 in different colors. So that's the size that I use the most. So I decided to just get those. So make sure when you get your wire that your wires don't cross. I think that's the biggest thing, especially on this first one, because you don't want, the wire to break. So you're gonna take your crimping tools. Let me make sure I got the right one. Yeah, this is my main crimping tool. I have micro crimpers, but I tend not to use them because I don't like them as much. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna put it in this teeth over here, right in the middle, squeeze. You don't have to squeeze super hard, but you can squeeze a little bit. And then you're gonna go in the first notch right there. And you're gonna bend your wire so you can make, not your wire, but your crimp tube, so you can make a nice tube shape. like that. Now you're gonna test it out and pull on it and make sure that it's in place, and it is. And the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to cut it pretty close because I've learned that these kind of come out sometimes and they poke at the skin. Now soft flax is not as much of a problem because it's very, very soft and it doesn't poke much, but you want to get it pretty close and cut it off if you can. So I'm doing this. Unfortunately, my cutters are getting a little dull because I had them for a lot of years. So I should probably purchase a new pair, but it came off. So this is what you should have. Now we're gonna start stringing, this one, this green, and then I'm gonna take some of my spacers that came in the box and string it. So let me do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so we're gonna do the same on this side, and we're gonna close this mini strand, and we're gonna just kind of string this in here and just pass it through at least one bead. I like to pass it through one bead, and then you're gonna pull it. As you can see, soft flax is very, very malleable and soft, and you're gonna make sure that these are more or less the same size. Like you just want them to be the same size. And then you're gonna crimp again. So you're gonna, just get over here on the tooth, squeeze, and then round it up so you have a nice little, tube. And it should look like that on the back. And then you're gonna cut this wire. And you want to cut it pretty close so it doesn't really, poke. So there is going to be a little bit of slack. You want to leave a little bit of slack. You don't want it to be so tight that it crunches up and bunches up. So you want a little bit of space for the wire to move a little bit. And that's where we're going to put it. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and do the same with all of these. And I'm going to speed up the video. But you're just going to get another piece a little longer. Make sure you put more. I'll let you know about the numbers once I get it figured out. Okay, just keep in mind that, we are going to skip one of these holes right here. So we're going to put this one on the first hole, skip a second hole, because we're going to do something else with that one. We're going to go in the third hole, and you want this strand to be longer than the other one. So this one has 9, and this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I also added the little spacers at the beginning, just to make it a little bit different and drape a little more. Now this third strand is gonna be different, but let's just go ahead and crimp this one up. Okay, so now I've cut about 10 inches of wire, and I'm gonna start stringing these beads. Okay, so I've strung 9 beads on one side with 8 spacer beads in between. And then what I'm gonna do, I think I'm going to add a jump ring to connect this, almost like the jump ring is gonna basically act as a bail. So I opened up my jump rings, and they come with 4 millimeters, 6 millimeters, I believe, and 8. I'm thinking the 6 is the one that's gonna work best, but let's see. Okay, and just a reminder, to open a jump ring, you're gonna get your 2 pliers, and you're gonna keep this one stable and open with this one, and then you're gonna just do this movement. You're never gonna pull it apart. You're always just kind of go back and forth to open and close up a jump ring, okay? And then you're gonna slip on your connector right there, and then you're gonna close it, coming from, you know, the way you came from. So this way. And you're going to make sure that this is very, very well closed, guys. You don't want any gaps. Sometimes some jump rings may have gaps. You just have to keep maybe doing a lot of back and forth with these until the two meet. Don't do it too many times though, because you don't want the jump rings to break. So there you go. And we're gonna make sure that there's no gap because you don't want it to fall off, you know, your wire. But you're gonna go ahead and string it and see how that looks. And I think this is gonna look pretty okay. And the way I'm going to check this, I'm going to add another one of this, make sure I hold this side very well. And I'm just going to dangle it and see if it dangles pretty freely or not. You know, if it was, I'm just going to tighten it up a little bit and make sure. And it looks like it's pretty free and pretty good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to string these and do the same thing that I did here and use my, you know, crimp beads and crimp each end. Now I am going to go off camera for a little bit because my phone is dying and that's how I do my videos. So I'm going to charge it and then I'll come back and I'll have this part done and then we'll connect these together. Okay guys, I'm back. So done that. These are pretty much ready to go. Before I actually connect them, I decided to work on this. What I want to do, I want to add 2 extra dangles down here. And then I want to also connect my key. So let's just do that. Okay, so I decided to wire wrap this little dangles because this is all I have left. There's 3 of these, so I want to use these 2. So I'm going to maybe mark where I want very small. So I already have these pre-marked, so I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to fold it at a 90-degree angle like that. And then I'm going to turn. I'm going to turn to my pliers. I'm going to bring this wire around, move it, and then just bring it under like that, straighten it up, and then I'm not going to wrap it yet, of course, because I have to add it to the filigree. So I'm going to slightly open it, and then I'm going to take my filigree, and I want it wrapped here, like at this corner over here. So I'm going to slide it in like that. And now that I have it, I can keep it steady and I can start wrapping it with my hand at first. Actually, this is kind of a tight corner, so I might have to bring in my pliers. So I'm going to take my little pliers and I'm going to wrap it around very carefully. This is kind of tricky, guys. If you don't want to do it this way, you could also add a jump ring, which would not be a bad idea either. It's just this is such a thin wire that, you know, I wanted to use it like this. So, and, you know, you might have to do a combination of your hand like this when it's this tight, and then a combination of your pliers. Sometimes it's just like that, guys. And I don't have super thin pliers. I've seen some people having super thin pliers, but I don't have them. So I'm just gonna use my hands, and then I'm gonna aid my hands. Use a combination of plier and hands until I get to about 3 turns like this. And I'm pretty close, as you can see. So once again, you don't have to do this. You could wrap this separately and then attach with a jump ring. I just want it to be secure on the filigree, and that's the way I decided to do it. And then I'm going to cut close. You want it really, really close. And then if there's any tail, you just want to carefully squeeze it in. You don't want to break this crystal. Okay? And there you go, you guys. So I got one of the dangles, and I'm going to do the exact thing on the other side. So now that I have my dangle attached, I'm going to attach this key, but I'm going to use one of my head pins this time to attach this key. Now you could also take a jump ring and just attach it if you wanted to. It will look good. I just really want to, you know, finish using these little beads, and so I'm trying to use as many as I can because I want to. So I'm going to take one of these head pin. If you don't have a head pin, you can use wire. I don't have any gunmetal wire. This is part of why I'm doing this. And this one from Bead Lending comes in 3 sizes. This is the shortest, and that's all I need. So I'm going to basically slide this in like that. And then I'm going to basically do the same side as this is. So we want to make sure they're facing the same size. So to do that, we're just going to bend it. And, you know, it might slide and it might not work. You can always turn it around later and I'll show you how to do it. But these are pretty stiff wires. So, you know, bend it at a 90-degree angle. And before you actually bend, you want to see where this falls. So this one falls at about the tip. So I'm going to say, you know, try to measure as close as you can. So we're going to be around here. And we're going to cut this a little bit. I think about there would be good, maybe a little bit more, just like that. Oops. And then I'm going to start at the end. I'm going to start rolling it, and hopefully it's the right size. So I'm going to start rolling, 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 rolling until I meet over here. Okay. So this might be a little bit bigger than this one slightly, and that's okay. It's not perfectly straight, but we can straighten that out right now. The most important thing is that it's closed, but we're going to reopen it anyway. So, and you want them to face the same way. So you're going to take this and, you know, turn the pliers so that these face the same way. So this faces this way, this faces this way, and we got the same right there and right there. So they're about even. Now to open and connect, we're going to open these like it's a jump ring, like this. And we're going to connect it to... I'm going to do the key first. Hopefully this is good enough. It might be actually too much for the key. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and connect it on this filigree and close it. So we got one part connected. Make sure it's really closed really well. You always don't want wires to poke through. So we have it closed just like that with our little dangles. And then we're going to attach our key. Now, I don't know if the loop of the key might be too big for this head pin. We'll see. This is actually the side of the head pins that came manufactured like this. So let's see what happens if I slide the key in. It actually might fit, and we might not need to do any jump rings. And it fits perfectly. So there you go, guys. This is how you attach the key. Just like that. You can also turn the key the other way because it's double-sided if you prefer it that way, facing that way. It doesn't really matter. I prefer it facing this way, so I'm going to leave it. And now I'm ready to attach this, strands that we made to these findings. So let's do that. And you might have noticed that I changed something up here. I don't know if I'm going to keep it like that. Before I decide to go any further, I'm going to try this on my neck, and I'm going to see how it falls so I can figure out the other part. But let's just do this part first. Okay, for this part, I'm going to use my 4mm jump rings, and we're going to do it the same way that we did before, to open and close a jump ring, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to start by going on the first hole of this one, sliding the jump rings, just like that, and then I'm going to take my strand and string it in. Okay, and now I'm going to close the jump ring. I know this is a bit of a delicate thing to do. It's hard to do on camera sometimes, but it's just basically we go back to where we came from. Make sure that the jump ring is closed really well, of course. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to take our 4mm jump rings. Now, if you have 5mm, it might work a little bit better because it would be nice to have it just slightly bigger. But it'll work perfectly with the 4. It's going to be a tight fit. And you don't want the fit to be too tight where it gets all, jumbled up. So you want to make sure that it moves. So we're going to close that one. And then we're going to skip this second hole, and we're going to go to the third hole. And we're going to open our jump rings again and attach. Our string again, the second one, remember, on the third hole. And we're just going to close it. And then we're going to do what we did on the same side, this side, and then we're going to skip the hole on the fourth hole, and we're going to go to the fifth hole and attach this strand. So I'm just going to do that and speed up the video a little bit. Okay, so guys, we've done this part, and we want to make sure that it kind of falls. We don't want it to fall like this. Unless you want to, you could have it this way. So you're going to decide on the curve. I want a little bit more curved, kind of in the middle range. I don't want it super curved like this, but I don't want it super tight like that. I kind of want it in the middle over here. So what you're going to do, you're probably going to take your bead board and you're going to check this on your bead board, and then you're going to put it on your neck and figure out how you want it to fall, and then try to kind of figure out your length, you know. You're going to measure this first. So I wanted about this length is about 4 inches from here to here, 4.5 or so. And I want my necklace to be, I don't know, 16 to 18 inches, depending on your neck. Usually a small necklace is 16, medium is 18, and then 20s for a large necklace, and 22 for extra large, etc. But yeah, just pick up this part and check on your neck how you want it to fall, and then let's come back. Okay, and just to quickly recap, guys, we got 9 beads right here with spacers in between. We have 12 green beads here with spacers in between, and 2 additional spacers at the end. And then we have 18 beads over here that are green with spacers in between, 9 in this side and 9 on the other side, just as a little recap. Okay, now we're going to work on this part of the necklace, and I'm going to start by putting some head pins on these. So not head pins, I'm sorry, but you know, eye pins. You could also take your head pins that you got from the box and cut the ball and just make, you know, eye pins that way. I just happen to have these eye pins, you know, because I bought the packet. But you don't have to have them. You can also use, you know, some wire to make, you know, your head pins. Or not your head pins, but your eye pins. Okay, so I want these to be the same side again, and I'm going to try to do the same thing that we did before. And this one is cut pretty close, so you don't even have to cut it if you have the short ones. So the short ones are great to use. Otherwise, you can cut it up a little bit. I'm not going to cut mine. I'm just going to bend it. And then I'm going to use my round nose plier once again and just gauge and just, you know, bring them around like we did before. So it should be something like this, but they need to face the same way. So to make them face the same way, you're just going to grab one side and you're going to grab the other side, and you're just going to twist one side until they kind of meet. This one is a little tricky because it wants to spin. So, you know, try your best to make it, you know, face the same way. I've tried to make this not spin, but they're going to spin a little bit. So there's one that's done, and now we're going to do the other one. Okay, so now we got these done, and we got, I had this jump rings that are 10 millimeters, and I'm going to connect this jump rings. You could connect them directly here if you want to. Actually, let's do that. I was going to try to do them like with other jump rings, but I think this is going to be enough. So let's just open the jump ring and connect this side and close it just like we did before. Make sure that the gap is very small or almost inexistent. And then here we're going to have to do something a little different if we're going to keep it this way. We're going to have to get a jump ring right there. So we're going to go ahead and connect this one too. And we're going to do the same on this side. Just remember, the more connections you have, the more movement. That's key with jewelry. It's just something to keep in mind. You know, just keep your mind on. So the more connection, the more movement for each piece. If that's what you want. Sometimes you want stiffer parts, you know. I like wire wrapping for that, and, you know, wire work. But we're just going to keep it pretty simple. I'm just going to do it this way. Oops, I didn't mean to connect it. I'm sorry, guys. See, I'm not paying attention. So we don't want to connect this one. We want to leave it loose. Just want to make sure it's closed really well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect 4 millimeter jump rings to the larger jump rings. Okay, actually we're going to be using 6 millimeter jump rings to connect these. I tried the 4 millimeters and they were a little bit too tight to, you know, connect these jump rings to this connector. So I'm just going to use 6 millimeters instead. If you have 5mm, that'd be probably even better because we're trying to make them as tight as possible. But the 4mm, unfortunately, were just a little bit too small. So as always, make sure that your jump rings, and I didn't do that here, make sure that they're very well closed. So just keep wiggling back and forward until they're closed, and you're gonna do the same on the other side. Once again, voila. So now we're going to connect our chain. So this is an aesthetic preference. You could just add beads if you want to. I thought about that, but I just kind of want this chain. I want to use this chain. But before we do that, I wanted to fill in these spaces right here with some bits of chain. So this is going to be a little tricky, but basically you're just going to have to lay your chain and just kind of figure out the length. So just lay your chain like this and try to figure out what best works. I can't tell you the exact measurements because I'm just doing it, you know, as I go, but I usually just lay it down and just cut it, you know, to where it needs to be. And I think actually this one opens, so if you don't want to cut it, you can actually open and close the connection. You just have to find your connection. These are very well closed, but it's not soldered, or at least usually it's not. So let's try it. Yeah, this one is like a little jump ring. So open them up like a little jump ring and close it up again if you don't want to waste links. And then you can see if it's going to look good. You're going to take a 4mm jump ring and you're going to connect both sides to these connectors. Okay, so we did this part. We're gonna do the same thing here. You're just gonna take your chain and you're gonna have to kind of figure it out, drape it over, and just make sure that the length looks about right. It's like it's not a mathematical equation here. You just kind of have to go by eye and see what works. So I like mine about here. So I'm just gonna open the jump ring here, or the chain, I should say, but it's like a jump ring. And then I'm going to connect again. And once again, this is all going to vary depending on what kind of angle or what kind of, you know, curve you want on your necklace. That's the curve that I chose. You could also bring it higher and put more beads if you want to. But I chose this height and it's good for me. It's this length. And now I'm just going to attach the rest of the chains that I have. And I'm going to see what, you know, what I can do with it exactly. I want to use this clasp that they put in the box. Now I have to decide also on the length. So once again, I'm going to pick this up and put it on my neck, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the best way to do this for me is to go ahead and attach the chain. So just get your necklace straightened up, and you can attach the chain directly to this jump ring. And just to attach one side and then check it on your neck, and then, you know, keep your finger on where you think, you know, the length should be on the chain. And then that's where you're going to cut your chain. So let me do that. Let me just attach this, and I'll be right back after I check it on my neck in the mirror. Okay, so I went ahead and attached about 5 inches worth of chains, and that's going to put my necklace to be around 18 to 19 inches around the neck total, like, you know, just measuring this whole thing from here to here. So I'm just going to find the center now. And the way I like to do that is usually either take a pin or something hard, like a head pin, and just try to find the center. So let me find that head pin. I have 3 bazillions of them and I can't find one right now. Does that ever happens to you? So I'm just gonna get it out and then put it back in from one of these bags. I have a head pin right here, or an eye pin. So I'm just gonna hang this one, and I'm gonna align these 2 beads and these 2 jump rings so I know that that's the center. And then I'm gonna try to find the exact center, and that's where I'm gonna cut and add my clasp. So I think it might be this one over here. So that's gonna be my center right there, okay? So double check your length, stretch it out, make sure that it looks right. Sorry, today my bead mat is a little bit all over the places, but you know, when you make this kind of multi-strand necklaces, it can be difficult. So I'm just gonna cut my chain right there. Try not to cut your head pin if you can. So that's what I cut my chain, and then I'm gonna get 2 of my 4mm jump rings if they fit. We might have to use a 6mm. I'm not sure, but and you know, depending on whether you're right-handed or left-handed, for me, I think it would be like this. If it's not, I can always flip it around. It's no problem because it's double-sided, so it doesn't matter unless the, you know, the key bothers you one way or another. It should be fine. So just open your jump rings once again, and then add it to your chain and add your clasp. And just close your jump ring. And then you're gonna do the same thing for the bar. So you're gonna add this thing, and you're gonna add your jump ring. And you could make this, if you want to, with a chain instead of using this, you know, clasp. You could use like a lobster clasp and make it adjustable by length. That's a very good idea if you're selling these. Now, do you see here, this one doesn't want to go in very easily. So what that tells me is that I need a 6mm jump ring. And actually, it would be okay to change the size on here because, you know, this actually will lengthen and even this out even more. So the clasp is not as important as long as the length of the chain is the same. I think that that's the more important thing. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a 6mm jump ring to this one, because I think it's going to give it a little bit more movement. And then I'm going to close this jump ring and maybe attach. So this is going to become like a unit, almost like a unit like this. And then we're going to attach the 4mm to the 6mm, so we can give it a little bit of extra length on this side. Just a little tiny bit, not too much. Just going to do that. Just add a 4mm jump ring. If I can't find the jump ring, sometimes this gets difficult to do when you're far away from your work, or sometimes the jump ring is not open enough. I think that's probably what happens. So I need to open up my jump ring a little bit more and slide it in, and then close it. Just make sure everything is well closed. Okay, so this was the end of the necklace. So let me clean this up a little bit so we can take a look at the necklace by itself. And there you go, you guys. This is the necklace. I'm gonna put it on a mannequin tomorrow and shoot like a small video or a picture so you can see it on, you know, something that looks not just flat, but it's really cute. I really think it turned out pretty good. And what did you think? Are you gonna make this necklace? I'm really curious. Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I am trying to do more tutorials if I can, as much as I can anyways, and I love doing the ones with the bargain bead box because it's relatively inexpensive. And of course, you don't have to use these beads. You could also go in your stash and be inspired and find something similar. If you have some connectors like these that are smaller, maybe like use smaller beads. But it's just, I'm trying to make pieces that you can reproduce with anything you have as well. But anyways, I'll see you next time. And in the meanwhile, I wish you lots of creative time and lots of crafting time. And thank you so much. Bye.